Welcome to Delicious Vegan. I'm Rachel Frank. Today we're going to be making some vegan English muffins. I love English muffins with my breakfast, and I like to also make some little English muffin pizzas or little garlic breads, and I'll show you those in another episode. So don't worry about writing down all the steps and the ingredients and everything like that. I will have the recipe posted on my website, www.thedeliciousvegan.net, and there will be a link to that in the video description. So to get started, you're going to want to start with 1.5 cups of warm water. You don't want your water to be scalding, but you want it to be warm. So you just kind of put your finger in there. If it feels warm to your finger, then it's good, okay? Kind of like a bath water temperature. Into that, we're going to put a tablespoon of sugar and 2 teaspoons of active yeast. The reason we put the sugar in here is the sugar helps feed the yeast. You just want to give it a little bit of a stir, and then we're going to set this aside so it can proof, so that the yeast becomes activated. Next, we're going to start mixing up our flours. Now I'm using a little bit of a half and half today of a whole wheat and a plain flour. If you want to go completely whole wheat, you can go ahead and try that. But you want to make sure that you're using some bread flour in there, okay? So for today I have 1.5 cups of regular white bread flour and 1 cup of whole wheat flour, just regular whole wheat flour. So you just want to give that a little bit of a stir, just get it mixed up. Okay. Next we need to warm up some soy milk. If you don't want to use soy milk, you can use almond milk, whatever non-dairy milk that you like to use. Just plain, don't use a flavored like the vanilla or anything like that, just regular old plain non-dairy milk. So for my case, I have some soy milk, and we have 1/2 cup. Now this needs to be warmed up a little bit. Again, you don't want it scalding, you just want it warmed. So I'm going to warm this up in the microwave, and then we'll come back. The amount of time that you'll put this in the microwave will depend on your microwave. I'd say try between 30 and 45 seconds and see how that does. Alright, so now we want to check back on our yeast. So when you look at your yeast, you should see now in the yeast to make sure that it's gotten a little bit foamy on the top. This is really good. This means that your yeast is active and alive. If your yeast does not do anything, then the yeast cultures are dead and your yeast is not going to produce desired effects. So you're going to want to throw out your yeast and get some more. This is your nice bubbly, foamy yeast. This is what you want it to look like. Okay? Let's move on. Okay, now that everything is all good to go, we're going to add both the yeast mixture and the warm milk into our flour and mix. Don't worry, it is not going to form into a dough ball right now. Don't get nervous. You're like, oh my god, it's all runny. It is going to be a little bit goopy. This is good. Okay, so this is your mixture. As you can see, it's kind of soupy. It's like a kind of an oatmeal consistency. Now what I want you to do is cover this with some plastic wrap and with a towel. The reason that we're doing this is to help keep the moisture inside so you don't get that hard, crispy surface on top of the dough when it's risen. So when we come back, we are going to need a couple more ingredients that we're going to add in right before we cook it, and we're also going to be cooking it with English muffin rings. Now if you don't have English muffin rings, they're kind of a random item to have in your house, but I make English muffins a lot, so I have them. I will be posting a separate tutorial showing you how to make your own homemade English muffin rings with tin foil and paper clips. So check out the other video. You can make your English muffin rings while your dough is rising. That makes a productive use of your time. See you guys back here. Alright, so it's been 45 minutes and hopefully you made your English muffin rings during that time. So now that your dough has gotten nice and bubbly, about doubled in size, it's time to add in the last little bit of our ingredients here. So we have a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking soda. Now we're adding this in last minute because as soon as the salt and baking soda get into the mixture with the wet, that's going to start activating the baking soda's leavening properties. And this is going to help get us the nice nooks and crannies. So just sprinkle that in. Stir it into your very doughy dough. Now again, remember, this is not going to resemble a traditional bread dough. This is going to be very goopy, sticky, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, so now that we've got everything incorporated, I want you to go meet me over at the stovetop. Now to get ready, you want to take a big skillet or frying pan, and you want to put that on and you want to heat it over medium to medium-high heat. You're going to need a 1/3 of a cup measuring spoon, your muffin rings, some non-stick cooking spray, and some cornmeal. The cornmeal you don't have to worry about measuring out, we're just going to sprinkle it with our fingers. So what I want you to do is spray your pan. Now take all of your muffin rings and spray the insides. We're then going to set the muffin rings inside the pan, and I'm going to move the camera so you can see the action that's going to go on over here. Get yourself a goopy scoop. It doesn't have to be completely filled. And just drop that inside your muffin rings. Now we're just going to take and sprinkle a little bit of the cornmeal on the one side of the English muffins. We're going to let these sit here and bake about 5 to 10 minutes until they're golden brown on the other side. I find it easy to remove the muffin rings, and this makes it easier for me to check when they need to be turned. You don't want to do this right away. This is after they've been on here for maybe 4 to 5 minutes, and then they will maintain their shape. This way it makes it easy for you just to kind of slip under there and check and see how the other side is looking. So these still need about maybe 1 or 2 more minutes here, and again, we're on about a medium heat. If you find that they are burning on the one side and they're not really cooking through enough, put your heat down lower to a medium-low heat. Alright, I think it's time that we try flipping these and see how it goes. So now that we've removed the rings, it's a lot easier to flip them. Now when they get to the stage where they start to sound a little bit hollow when tapped, that means they're done. Alright, congratulations guys on making your delicious vegan English muffins. These English muffins are great to have just with a little bit of earth balance on them, or some vegan peanut butter. Or in another episode I'll be showing you how to make my little mini pizzas or little cheesy garlic bread vegans. Please take the time to rate the video. That way it makes it more accessible to other people on YouTube. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please post them or email me at deliciousvegan@aol.com. Also, if you have any recipes that you would like to have veganized, please send them to me and I will do my very best to try and get a vegan version for you and get a video up so you can make all of your favorite recipes vegan friendly. Thank you guys. Bye.